And there we go. Napoleon is back. He may not look as cool as he used to, but he is back. And we are now the French Empire. But we're also the European Union, so we retained all of our cores on all of Germany, all of Italy, the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, everything. So we are incredibly strong. It's only January 1941. We have an entire run ahead of us. And this is what we control already, basically all of Europe. And we are ready to face the Allies. We are ready to avenge Waterloo. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. I recently made a Democratic France guide in which, with a perfect setup, we absolutely dominated World War II and formed the European Union. Then I thought, how could I make this even better? Well, by bringing back Napoleon, of course. So in today's guide, not only we are going to dominate World War II, not only we are going to form the European Union, we're also going to turn non-aligned and bring back the Empire. If that sounds interesting, then this is the right video for you. Now, among other benefits, compared to Democratic France, this will also give us a lot more opportunities for further expansion and to continue this run. Let me warn you though, if you already watched my Democratic France guide, a lot of the video will look like more of the same. However, there are some important differences which will enable our future expansions, so make sure to follow the video carefully. As always, if you have any doubts, feel free to ask in the comments and to join our Discord to meet our amazing community. And of course, if you have been following the channel and enjoying the content I make, please do not forget to support the channel by liking the video, subscribing and leaving a comment. Now that's all for the introduction, so let's get straight into our initial setup for France. Now the initial setup will be basically the same that we used for Democratic France. In fact, we are Democratic France at the moment. I will add some improvements compared to the older video in several parts of the run, so that's another reason to pay attention to this initial setup. Let me remind you that focuses and researches will not be covered in the video. You can check them in the unedited version, but you can also find them in the description of the video. In terms of buildings, we are going to build infrastructures followed by full civilian factories in these two provinces here. Now, in terms of military production, it's important that you follow the same steps if you want to have the same amount of equipment. We set support equipment to 4, towed artillery to 1, trucks to 1, towed anti-air to 2, the next... We assigned 2 factories to anti-air, but future ones, 1 to trains, and then the default 2 plus all of the future ones to infantry equipment. But make sure that this has the lowest priority, so that the first factories will go to these other ones. In terms of naval production, I always leave it entirely up to you. It's totally free, but if you want to do it like me, I just leave the default one and assign full dockyards to all of them. I will also add some convoys at the end for when all other ships are done. Keep in mind that the convoys are quite important for our strategy, as we will use them later on to annex more quickly Italy and to reduce the autonomy of our puppets. Now, in terms of the armies, first of all, we are going to decommission this Division Coloniale and the Brigade de Chars de Combat. We are not going to use the tanks. We are not going to use motorized, at least for this part of the run. And I'm going to rename the other ones to Inf for infantry. Mon for mountaineers. Cav for cavalry. Def with this icon for our defensive template. Now the reason I renamed them, one of the reasons I renamed them is if you're following my spreadsheets, which you can get access to with a tier 2 membership to the channel, it will be easier to follow the instructions. By the way, I recently improved a lot the spreadsheets, adding a lot of information, especially about setups and how to manage the wars in detail. So if you're a member of the channel already, let me know what you think about it. If you're not a member of the channel yet, please consider supporting the channel to get access to these I think, pretty cool spreadsheets. Now, to split our army, we're going to create only one group, and then we're going to switch one cavalry to def. We're going to remove all def by double-clicking on them, and all mountaineers by double-clicking on them. You should have 46 divisions that we are going to change entirely into infantry. And then we're going to split them into 2 armies. You did everything correctly. You should have 4 armies, which we are going to assign to one marshal. The marshal will be Maxime. The generals will be Jean de Lotre and Charles de Gaulle. For the defensive army, we are going to use Gaston. And for the mountaineers, we are going to use René Audry. Now, it doesn't matter much what you do with these armies, but try not to let them die of attrition. So I give them a fallback line like this, and I shift-click on train, so that they all train all the way up to regular. We can also give some traits to one of the armies, like this one. I'm also going to gather all of our fleet in Marseille, or actually I think it's Toulon. And we're going to assign them an admiral, but we are not going to train them because we lack the oil to do so. And then we're going to gather all of our planes, except for the carrier ones. Again, in southern France, and the planes we can train. Shift-click here to train them all the way up to regular. We're going to change the occupation law to local autonomy and the garrison to cavalry. We're going to release Algeria as a puppet right away. I already explained the benefits of this, but basically we will later on re-annex them through the Focus, the Bloom Violet proposal, which will also give us a core on Algeria. And the advantage of releasing them now is that we don't lose anything, they don't have anything. We actually save on manpower for garrisons, and in the meantime they will build an industry. So when we re-annex them, we will have some extra additional factories, which we otherwise wouldn't get. We're going to create an agency, and then later on we're going to use our spy to spy in Italy. And with this, our initial setup is done, basically the same as with Democratic France. Now we can start the game at speed 5 because there isn't that much to do in these early phases of the game. In fact, I will only mention the most important things. Mostly it will be picking researches and focuses which are not included in the video, so you can find them in the unedited version or in the description. Check. Okay. We didn't get a seducer for our spy, but that's okay. Let's send we will send this guy to Italy, to Genova. When you get this event, issue a diplomatic objection. We don't want a war with Germany just yet, though that's possible. That's another viable way to play France, but not for this one. Now, for some of the researches, and you will find it in the description too, you should not pick the MIO. So go for research without a military-industrial organization. Otherwise, you will lack the political power. When you do not find any indication about the MIO, it means you need to pick the MIO. By default, I always pick the MIO. If I don't, I will write it in the description. Okay, we got the very lucky event with the elections. So at the elections you have a couple of possible events. One of them is this one, public demands rearmament. And with this one you can get early mobilization right away. This is actually absolutely amazing. And in addition to that you also get base war support plus 5%. So this is fantastic. The other possible event that you get, and I feel like the other one is a bit more common, is something about communism in the government, and you get the choice between more communism support or losing some stability in favor of additional democratic support. And that second option, so losing stability for more democratic support, is the best choice, in my opinion, in that case. But if you get this event, of course, go for early mobilization. Now, since I don't want to make this guide easier, I will pretend that I got the other event. So I will actually lose 5% stability, which is terrible. Don't do it if you get this event. I will do it to make it a bit more difficult and to simulate the other event. Actually, the other event, you lose some stability, but by gaining democratic support, you regain some stability. So this one, picking the loss of stability here is really bad. But the other one is really OP, so I didn't want to make the run much easier. Now, about concentrated or the dispersed industry, I recently made a video about it. Make sure to check it out. It goes very much in detail about that. And overall, dispersed is the best choice. But for very optimized, highly optimized guides, concentrated tends to perform slightly better. So in this run, I'm going for concentrated. But if you feel like you want to make some changes to my production or produce some different type of equipment, then probably dispersed is going to work better for you. Make sure to check out the video to see the detailed comparison. Okay, and at 150 political power, which was a real struggle to get to, we can finally pick the silent workhorse and boost a little bit our political power gain. This is also a good time to switch our spy to Quiet Intel network in Italy. Now, if you're following my research priority, at this point you will get 3 research slots available at the same time, because we need to wait for the focus to complete in order to get some very nice discounts on all of the industrial focuses, on all of the industrial researches. So we go for concentrated industry, we go for tools up, and we go for construction up, and we get a nice boost on all of them. Now, at 50 political power, we're going to pick the army defense specialist, so we're going to start building some army experience. At the same time, we're also going to start building military factories in 100% provinces, and then also in all of the 80% provinces. So all of these provinces. Now, when we get this event, we are not going to help Spain, but we are actually going to help them later in a much better way. Here is our MIO priority for infantry equipment. At 35 army experience, we're going to pick Relief of Command. Absolutely amazing. The army advisor cost minus 50% and army experience gain plus 25%. Definitely the best thing about being a democracy.
Gardez vos rangs.
We're also going to start positioning our armies for Spain. I'm going to use the Latka to push into anarchist Spain.
Attention.
I'm going to use the Gaul to push into nationalist Spain here in the north. And he will be supported by the mountaineers as well. As for the defensive army, we are going to send it to Marseille, and then later on we will send them to defend the remaining part of democratic Spain, which is actually not having a very good time. But we will be able to save them. Here is the MIO priority for our light fighters. Actually, here is the MIO priority for our fighters and CAS, since we don't have a dedicated CAS one. Alright, as soon as you complete this focus, and not a minute later because Spain is in big trouble, we need to join the war in Spain and save democratic Spain. And in order to do so, we are going to pick Allow Volunteer Work. These are special decisions that you unlock by completing the focus I just showed you. So Allow Volunteer Work, and then you should be able to pick Intervene on side of Spain, which will bring us directly into this war. At this point, we also want to block the naval regions, the sea regions around Spain, except for Western Mediterranean Sea. We are going to block it too, but only after moving our defense into our defensive army into Spain. We're also going to block this region of the Mediterranean, however. We are going to send our defensive army to protect Spain, and while they are going there, we probably should select convoy escort or even naval invasion support, whichever you prefer, but you want to protect your convoys during this trip. So maybe, let's say, 3 on convoy escort, 1 on strike force. Just make sure that they don't get intercepted. We don't want to lose war support to convoys destroyed. That's very important. We're also going to change the battle plan execution to aggressive and the motorization priority to maximum for the entire army. We're going to assign all of our planes and we're going to split them evenly between the two main armies. We're going to pick bold attack. And we are going to start the offensives immediately to save Spain. By the way, when you join the civil war in Spain, you will get this event, civil unrest, which in about 80 days will give us a communist uprising, a civil war in France. And guess what? We really don't want that. However, since we picked the focuses very carefully, as soon as we complete this focus, which is going to take less than 80 days, we're going to get rid of that minus 10% stability debuff. And thanks to that, we're going to get immediately out of this event. So you need to be very careful with the timing. If you change something to compare to my guide, keep in mind that this will be or may be an issue. But if you follow the timing correctly, you will not have a problem with the civil war in France. Okay, I would say that our troops, our defensive troops, our defensive troops got to Spain, except for one which did not go for some reason. Why didn't you go? Okay, at this point we can stop the naval invasion support. We don't need it anymore. And we can also lock this naval region. This is the best way to actually avoid convoys being destroyed. Anarchist Spain should go down first, and based on your war score, in this case it's pretty low, decide which one to annex, whether Catalonia or Eastern Aragon. I will try to get Eastern Aragon. It's more likely that you are able to get only Eastern Aragon, so in this case, that's it. I mentioned this in the other video too, but you also have the option, if you have the By Blood Alone DLC, I believe, to puppet them, but this will create a satellite, not a proper puppet. So I prefer to annex them and then release them as a puppet.
Attention.
I'll slightly rearrange my divisions. Keep in mind that we are in Spain mostly with the purpose of farming army experience and general traits. So you don't really need to micro this war.
Gardez vos rangs. Tirs ennemis.
When you get this event, always divert bomber production. And now, as you can see, we got 10% stability back, which means the civil war is avoided. Now, if you still see convoys being raided, try to lock more sea regions, because we really don't want our convoys to be raided. Now, of course, after repeal the law of exile, we get the chance to turn non-aligned right away, and we have 3 options. We will talk about this later, but we're not going to do it now, because if we do it now, then we cannot form the European Union. If we want to form the European Union, if you want to form the European Union, you need to delay these focuses until after that. Alright, I'm slightly late, but as soon as you complete the previous focus, you also want to pick partial mobilization, which is one of the main reasons we go for the civil war in Spain. We pick partial mobilization.
Attention.
At 150 political power, just to be on the safe side, we're going to pick war propaganda. Now, if you can pick radio propaganda, this is also very good, but that's not always the case. I don't know why there is some RNG in every run, and in this case the war tension is particularly high. Sometimes it is as low as 24% at this point. And when that's the case, you cannot pick radio propaganda, but you can always pick war propaganda. So we're going to pick war propaganda for the consistency of it. We're also going to make some adjustments to our production. We are going to bring the support equipment production to 5. Anti-air to 4. Sorry, anti-air to 4. We set the infantry equipment to 15. And we assign all future factories to improved artillery, but we bring the priority to the lowest. And this is our MIO priority for artillery.
Attention.
It looks like the civil war in Spain will be over soon.
Attention.
And that's it. The civil war in Spain is done. Now again, depending on your war score, you will be able to annex a little bit more or a little bit less. But what I would suggest taking is Western Aragon, and then try to get with Burgos to these provinces here. Valladolid, Leon, Salamanca. Because you get some nice tungsten from here. And then maybe Navarra to keep them all together. And then if you have any spare points at the end, you can also take some of the Spanish Navy. Now, when you get below 25% war support, you will also get this event, Demobilize Our Economy, which has a timer, and you get strikes if your war support doesn't get above 25% by the end of that timer. Now, even if you get the strikes, that's not the worst, because as soon as you get more than 25% war support, this event will completely disappear, the strikes will disappear, everything will disappear. So if you follow the guide carefully, and if you are lucky, like in this case with the war tension, and if you didn't get too many convoys raided, like in this case, you will be able to get rid of this very quickly. If you were a bit less lucky, you may get the strikes for a couple of months, but in any case you will get rid of them, and it is still worth taking partial mobilization. Partial mobilization is amazing. So it's worth the effort. Now, after the war, we are immediately going to release Nationalist Spain as our puppet, so we don't waste any garrisons in there, we don't have to worry about resistance. We're going to promote Jean de Lattre to Marshal. And we're going to replace Maxime. Now, if you're lucky, he gets some nice trades here. You can extend the civil war in Spain a little bit longer if you want, and he may get some of the best trades in here. Infantry expert, for example, would be very nice. And logistics wizard, but we didn't get it in this case, so that's alright. We're going for aggressive assaulter or offensive doctrine, probably, yeah. Both of them. Still, these are pretty nice trades to have. And Charles de Gaulle got infantry expert, which is very nice. Attention. The general which will replace de Lattre will be Alphonse Juin. Terrible pronunciation for sure. Attention. And our army can go back to where they were before. Shift click on train, but probably they will all be trained already. Okay, now we are going to unblock all of these sea regions, except for the Eastern Mediterranean Sea. We leave that blocked for World War II. Now, another amazing thing about joining the war in Spain is that then you get this event, which is absolutely OP. You get a lot of base stability, and you usually get it twice for some reason. So we send back the volunteers, we get some nice stability, and then, as you can see, immediately I got another one, so we send back the volunteers again, and we get even more stability. And as you can see, we also got above 25% war support, meaning we don't get any bad event, any strikes anymore. But this is particularly lucky because the war tension is very high, so usually you get this a little bit later. And here is our priority for trucks and mechanized. At 150 political power, we're going to pick the War Industrialist Advisor. At 50 political power, we are going to pick the Ground Support Specialist. And we're going to make some changes to our templates. We want to bring our infantry to my usual offensive template, so we add a lot of artillery. We add the support anti-air, we add the cavalry recon, and we add the field hospital. I'm going to change the name to offensive. We're going to give them a fancier icon. And we're going to change them to an elite template. And we can save them. We're also going to add the engineer support company to our defensive armies. Then we're also going to recruit 2 additional offensive divisions and 48 additional defensive divisions. At 75 political power, we are going to pick radio propaganda. Now, in this specific case, we don't absolutely need it, but if you haven't gotten to above 25% or 24% war support, this will fix your strikes problem. We're going to pick it again for the sake of consistency. At this point of the run, you usually get rid of the strikes, regardless of what happened before. Unless maybe you did very, very bad in terms of convoys raided and casualties in Spain. This is also a good time to start building land forts at the border with Belgium. And we're going to pick forts up to tier 4 at the border with Belgium. So something like this. If you build forts higher than tier 4, if you build higher tier forts, the Germans will not attack you. And if you build lower tier forts, the Germans will attack you even more. So up to you how much you want to be attacked by the Germans, but I find tier 4 to be the perfect balance. We're not going to change the priority, so we are going to build our military factories first and then the forts. And then I usually also upgrade the supply hub in Nice by clicking here. Upgrade bottlenecks. Again, we leave this as the lowest priority. This is not mandatory, but it helps a bit with the supplies when we fight in Italy. In the Munich conference, we leave the Czechs to their fate.
Has come back from his third and greatest journey, and he said that the settlement of the Czechoslovakian problem, which has now been achieved, is, in my view, only the prelude to a larger settlement in which all Europe may find peace. This morning, I had another talk with the German Chancellor, Herr Hitler. And here is the paper which bears his name upon it as well as mine. Some of you perhaps have already heard what it contains.
At 100 political power, we're going to pick the improved worker conditions. Not absolutely mandatory, but I like to have some higher stability, just in case we get some unlucky events later on.
Further meeting today and are agreed in recognizing that the question of Anglo-German relations is of the first importance for the two countries and for Europe. We regard the agreement signed last night and the Anglo-German naval agreement as symbolic of the desire of our two peoples never to go to war with one another again. We are resolved that the method of consultation
Make sure you wait for this focus before you pick
that may concern our two countries
before you pick the improved small airframe, so you get a discount.
to remove possible sources of difference and thus to contribute to assure the peace of Europe.
By the way, I love how when you go for revive the national bloc, it messes up completely the focus tree, and the intervention on Spain is on top of some other stuff. Completely broken. Okay, we got the Bloom Violet proposal. Let's see what we got from re-annexing Algeria, so what I was mentioning earlier. So we already got a civilian and a military factory in here, another civilian factory in here, unfortunately nothing here. But still, not too bad. 2 civilian factories, 1 military factory. Sometimes you get even more. It depends a bit on what Algeria does. Still, it's 3 factories and 3 manpower. Also, at 150 political power, we are going to pick the... Let me do that again. So at 150 political power, we are going to pick the industrial concern. Now, when you need tungsten, you can import it from Spain, our puppet Spain. So we will never need to invest more than 1 civilian factory in it. Okay, as soon as you complete this focus, it is time to design our new fighters. And of course we are going for our usual amazing F2 design. You can never go wrong with this design. Now we're also going to start building more military factories, starting from the 100% provinces and then in all 80% provinces. And if we get future military factories, we are going to build even more in... and if we get future free civilian factories, we are going to build even more military factories in here. We're also going to make some changes to our production, and we bring the production of artillery down to 8, we increase the production of support equipment to 8, and then everything else will go to our F2. Lowest priority, but all future factories. We also can, we can also stop importing tungsten. We are going to add the anti-air company to our defensive armies. We're going to pick the army logistics specialist. We're going to pick the air superiority expert, and then if you can, you should also pick the infantry expert specialist, but we cannot because the Latver didn't get it. So we'll get something else later on. Now we're going to force deploy all of the divisions which are still training, and we're going to set up our armies for World War II. First of all, we assign the offensive divisions to their respective armies, and then with the new defensive armies we create an additional 2 divisions. Now we're going to set up all of the defensive divisions and the mountaineers to be with a different marshal, and the marshal will be of course Maxime. He also has very, very good traits now. He has Logistics Wizard, which we can pick right away.
Attention.
For the generals, we're going to use the 2 Henry.
Attention.
One Henry and the other Henry.
Gardez vos rangs.
For the setup, again, keep in mind that there is a detailed explanation in the spreadsheet. But the basics is we're going to assign Alphonse to Belgium, together with one of the defensive armies. We're going to assign the defensive army, which is basically already trained to the border with Germany. We're going to send Charles de Gaulle down all the way to Marseille. And we're going to plan a naval invasion of Italy with groups of 2, with his army from Toulon to the area of Genova all the way down to Livorno.
Gardez vos rangs. Gardez vos rangs. Pareil.
So it should be like this. Groups of 2. Then we're going to send the mountaineers at the northern border with Italy, the top 3 tiles, with an offensive line into Italy. And the last defensive army to cover the bottom 4 tiles, again with an offensive line into Italy. We're going to shift click on all of them to train them. And we're going to change the motorization priority to maximum for all of them.
Gardez vos rangs.
We're also going to release Tunisia as a puppet, Tunisia is here, and the advantage of releasing it is that in this way we don't have to worry about Italy. We don't have to defend this border at all. In Africa, we can completely ignore the African theater, basically. We can continue. Alright, World War II is starting, but not for us, so for now we can chill. Until the war tension gets to 100%, we will not do much.
From the cabinet room to 10 Downing Street. This morning, the British ambassador in Berlin handed the German government the final note, stating that unless we heard from them by 11 o'clock, they were prepared at once to withdraw their troops from home, a state of war would exist between us. I have to tell you now that no such undertaking has been received. And that consequently, this country is at war with them. You can imagine what a bitter blow it is to me when all my long struggle to win peace has failed.
Okay, we got to 100% word tension, which means we can now fabricate claims, and we're going to use that right away to justify a claim on Italy. It doesn't matter where. And as soon as Belgium goes down, we're also going to make some adjustments with the front here.
Attention!
So basically what you want is the offensive to cover the front, but not in the area of Metz. Because here we have forts, we don't need the offensive army to protect that front. Same thing for the defensive army assigned up here. And then we can extend a little bit the area covered by this defensive army, as they will not be under a lot of pressure. So if you use a setup like this, you will not have to worry about the Germans at all. We also want to gather all of our navy in Toulon. Now we're also going to deploy new planes if we have some, or if we don't, like in this case, we're going to gather all of our planes in the area of Marseille, and we're going to train them all to regular, so shift click here. Finally, we're going to import some oil from... Finally, we're going to import some oil from the United States, and I usually go for 7 civilian factories. You can adjust it a little bit. Maybe 7, it's a little bit of an overkill, but I just want to have enough oil to support my navy during the war. Now, sometimes Germany will attack you around November, sometimes a bit later, sometimes not at all, until you attack Italy, until you almost capitulate Italy. So there is a bit of RNG here, and generally speaking, it is better when Germany attacks you early. So if they attack you already in November, it's great. because in here they will never be able to break through, and we will farm a lot of army experience and general traits by having the German divisions crush into us. And of course, moreover, they will also destroy their armies. But it looks like they are not going to attack us. You can usually tell because they don't have divisions in here, so probably not in this case. This is one of the advantages of getting this claim on Italy, so we reduce the RNG in the run. In any case, we are going to attack them. Is there any music? Where is my music? Now, whether Germany attacks you or not, around March or late February 1940, you will get your claim on Italy, and at this point, we can finally make our entrance in World War II. So we're going to declare war on Italy, and at this point, or earlier, if Germany attacked you earlier, we're going to pick war economy, and we're going to pick the military theorist, and we can finally spend some of this amazing army experience, and we're going to spend it into the superior firepower doctrine. Grand battle plan is also okay, but I had better results with superior firepower, although maybe I will make a dedicated video about this comparison. In any case, let's go superior firepower, and the absolute priority here is to get to this one. We don't have enough army experience yet, but this is the highest priority. These two are the highest priority. Now, we also want to pick the suppressive barrage tactic, and then later on we will also pick the smoke and fire spirit. Remember to also give suppressive barrage to your generals, if they can get it. The civil war in Spain was quite fast in this run, so we have a little bit less army experience than usual, but that's okay. And then before you pick the air doctrines, remember to pick the spirits, air crew surveys, and centralized control. Especially air crew surveys reduces the air doctrine cost by 15%, so you should always pick these first and doctrines later. Now, when attacking Italy, we can also replace the army defense expert with the army offense expert. And if you have enough political power, you can also pick utilize domestic film industry. Usually you don't have enough political power yet because you picked the infantry expert, but we didn't in this case. We are going to pick it right away. Now, of course, we need to remember to switch our spy back onto build Intel network, otherwise the spy network in Italy will not be active and it will not do anything. And then we also need to deploy all of the planes that we have been building, and we assign all of them to our Charles de Gaulle for the offensive in Italy. Now that everything is ready, I would recommend making a save. Now, in terms of the fleet, I usually split them into 2 or even 4 groups, and I set them on naval invasion support in these 2 regions. It's usually very easy to achieve the naval superiority. You shouldn't have any issues. And we can start immediately our naval invasion. As you start the naval invasion, I would also recommend moving the other units to Nice, so they can go from this harbor later on, and they don't risk being intercepted. We need to slow down the speed a little bit, and I recommend micromanaging a little bit the naval invasion in Italy. It can be a tricky part of the run. Okay, this is looking already very good. So the main priority with this naval invasion is to split Italy into 2, to cut off the northern and southern part of Italy. That's our first priority.
Attention. Gardez vos rangs.
When you import rubber, I would recommend importing rubber from the United Kingdom if possible. The United Kingdom doesn't have any rubber though, so I guess that's not happening. Oh well, this will be intercepted, but that's okay.
Gardez vos rangs. Parez.
Okay, and then send over the remaining divisions as soon as possible to help in Italy.
Attention.
Now, when the spy is done in Italy, when he cannot help in Italy anymore, I would recommend starting the spy network in Luxembourg. Another thing you want to do when your other units reach Italy is creating another army in Italy. Split them off from the offensive army of Charles de Gaulle. And we assign them to Philippe Leclerc. And I want usually 10 divisions in there, so I'm going to take 10 divisions out of here.
Attention.
5 divisions out of here, so we have a total of 10 divisions. Now these 14 divisions main purpose will be to push the northern part of Italy and to cut off Germany completely. So you want to push something like this, and then later on you want to take all of northern Italy if possible. Oh, I can see that Italy took Dalmatia in this particular run. That's okay. And with the other army, the idea is to keep the pressure up in southern Italy. So we keep pushing to the south of Italy.
Attention. Attention.
Now, when you see that they are removing their units from this front, not yet maybe, you can start the other offensive here with defensive and mountaineers. Okay, we can do it now. If nothing else, even just to keep them stuck in here so that they cannot reinforce. And finally, Germany attacks as well. So hopefully we'll get some nice experience up there.
Gardez vos rangs.
Okay, Rome is down. Everything is going according to plans in Italy.
Gardez vos rangs. Gardez vos rangs. Attention. Attention.
Bougez-vous.
By the way, something I did not mention is we're not going to join the Allies, we are not going to call the UK into this war, but if you find it very difficult, if you're struggling a lot, then you can do that, and the UK will definitely help you, especially with air superiority. But if we can do everything by ourselves, then we don't need to share the war score with anyone, so that's clearly better.
Attention.
Bougez-vous.
Gardez vos rangs. Paré.
Now, when the front in the north stabilizes, you should send the defensive army on this border, and later on they will cover the border against Germany.
Allez, on se bouge.
Doesn't matter much what you pick in terms of naval spirits, but I like the naval refitting yards and decisive battle.
Attention.
Nice. Now, mountaineers can also help in here.
Attention.
And we can try to push the remaining part of northern Italy.
Attention.
Remember the doctrines whenever possible. Mussolini is deposed, so soon we will get the civil war in Italy. And this part of the war will basically be over.
Gardez vos rangs. Continuez l'attaque. Attention. Paré. Gardez vos rangs. Attention.
Okay, civil war in Italy. I usually slow down the game a bit here because sometimes if you're too fast at capitulating Italy, you don't get to transfer territory. But we really want to transfer our territory to our puppet Italy if possible. Hopefully we'll get the event. There we go. Okay, so we transferred the territory, and the main advantage of transferring territory to your puppet Italy is that in this way you don't need to take it in the peace conference. In the peace conference, this will not be part of the peace conference at all. And that saves us quite a lot of points that we can invest on other things, since Italy is our puppet in any case.
Attention. Gardez vos rangs. Attention.
And Repubblica Sociale Italiana capitulated. That's absolutely amazing. And here we talked about the bad event. This is, by the way, the same event that you can get at the beginning. And I would recommend losing stability in exchange for the popularity of democracy. Okay, now as soon as Italy goes down, you can right-click on them and you can request forces, take all of their forces,
Arrêt.
and use them to help secure the border against Germany. I usually give some of them at least to my
Pied.
mountaineers,
Attention.
and then I just create a new army with the last general available, and I send them all to the border with Germany here. We don't want to push into Germany, we just want to hold this border, and with all of these divisions it shouldn't be an issue. Now
Attention.
at this point we can merge again the armies of Charles de Gaulle, and we can start preparing for our offensive in Germany. So Charles de Gaulle will go here and will prepare a spearhead offensive to get to Essen and Dortmund, which is our next target. At this point we're also going to start building infrastructures all over Italy to reduce their autonomy. We will need to annex them in order to form the European Union. And then I'm also going to build some military factories in Italy. Why not? Now we can move our navies back to Dunkirk, and from here they will support our offensive in Germany. And we're also going to move up here all of our planes, temporarily assigning them to Alphonse. Is it his name? Yes. Make sure to also deploy all new planes if you have. If you have new planes, make sure to deploy all of them as well.
Arrêt.
Bougez-vous.
Gardez vos rangs. Gardez vos rangs.
Now with our offensive army here, with the other offensive army here in Germany, we are going to plan a spearhead offensive to take the area of Amsterdam and Utrecht. And we do not want to pass this river, but we want to get a bridgehead up here in order to be able to push into northern Germany.
Attention.
And why the hell are you not using the freaking trains? I hate you. Use the trains.
Bougez-vous.
Use the fucking trains.
Gardez vos rangs.
Okay, now this first push, the first push here against Germany is a very tough one, so we want to be prepared the better possible. So we want the best possible preparation, which means high planning, possibly,
Attention.
and divisions with maximum organization. Don't start pushing without maximum organization or you will be destroyed by Germany here. We are not in a hurry, just want to get a good first push. Time is on our side. We will get more and more air superiority as we continue. And also we can split at least the fighters. And also we can split the planes between our two offensive armies so that they both get some support.
Gardez vos rangs.
You can also use a staff office plan to speed up the planning a little bit. Oh, and now we can also pick the Smoke and Fire Spirit. Very nice. And finally, Alphonse got some nice traits. Well, not the best traits, but I guess it's okay. Especially though... no, not Entrenchment. Come on. Why didn't you get Artillery? Get Artillery, it's much better. I will not get Entrenchment. Useless. Never mind, we didn't get any nice traits. Okay.
Bougez-vous.
Okay, I feel like we got decent planning, so we can start the offensive against Germany. Let's use our navy on naval invasion support in here, so that they can support the offensive, at least on the northern side in the Netherlands and Belgium. I will also make a save, just in case. And let's go and see how these first two painful offensives will be for us. And I see green numbers, especially in here. This one is usually a bit tougher. If we can break through the first phase, then it's going to be much better. Oh, we even got an encirclement. This is very nice.
Gardez vos rangs.
Make sure to reassign the defensive army when you push, because they tend to get messed up a bit. We want to make sure to cover the entire front. Okay, when you complete the heavy bombs research, it's time to design our CAS. And we're going for my usual C2 design, except we're using the heavy bomb blocks, which are a bit cheaper than bomb bays. So this is a very good cast design, and we want to start producing it as well. So we're going to bring the production of C2 to 25, and we're going to take those 25 out of the F2. But we're also going to reduce the production of artillery and support equipment unless we still need them. So let's see if we still need them. We don't know. Bugs. Bugs. Okay, there is a surplus of support equipment, so we don't need support equipment. There is a surplus of infantry equipment, so it was bugged as well. There is a surplus of everything, so yeah, we can do it. So we're also going to bring the production of support equipment and artillery down to 5. Let's also make sure that we assign all planes. One plane was not assigned.
Gardez vos rangs.
Okay, here in the north we are being particularly successful, but I want to stop this offensive because the next one will be from this little bridgehead that we got in here. And we are going to push for Bremen, Münster, Dortmund and Essen. In this way we also help the other offensive, which is probably struggling a bit at this point. Make sure that the defensive armies are covering this part of the front, and let's also stop this very painful offensive. Rearrange them a little bit. And again, plan an offensive, maybe for Kassel and Frankfurt too at this point.
Attention. Paré. Paré.
Now in the north we can probably keep the pressure up.
Paré.
When you don't need the naval invasion support anymore, stop it so we don't run out of fuel.
Attention.
Now we can start the other push here as well. And here we got some nice encirclements. Very good. Oh, finally, the Swiss decided to trade with me. This event usually happens a lot earlier, just before the war. And it's very good because you can get civilian economies, which means minus 15% consumer good factories. It's very, very good, so we will get it now. Better late than never.
Attention.
Finally, we got the infantry expert and the infantry specialist. Now we can also pick these as an advisor. And that's actually a very good one.
Paré.
Sad that we got it so late, but better than nothing. Now, when you struggle a bit with pushing, like in this case, we struggle with the north push, remember to stop. We're not in a hurry. Stop, take your time, rearrange it, plan again. You will get it done eventually.
Attention.
We can send our navy up here to support as well.
Paré. Gardez vos rangs.
See, we were struggling, and now by just rearranging the army a little bit and waiting a second, we're getting much better results.
Continuez
Do
d'avancer.
not want necessarily to push in here though.
Attention. Gardez vos rangs.
Bougez-vous.
Gardez vos rangs.
Oh, we got a very lovely encirclement in here. This will help
Attention.
massively.
Gardez vos rangs.
With the northern push, it's now time to go for Rostock and Berlin.
Pareil. Attention. Attention. Pareil. Gardez vos rangs.
And down here, I think it's time to close these encirclement.
Attention.
We can also push up here, keep the pressure up. Every push is a bit easier than the previous one. It means the Germans are struggling.
Attention.
Bougez-vous.
Attention.
Somehow there we can...
Gardez vos rangs. Pareil. Gardez vos rangs. Attention.
Bougez-vous.
Berlin is down. That's very nice. And I also see two nice units here in Magdeburg. Take care of them. And let's see if we can get an encirclement here, which would be very nice. And we can.
Attention. Attention. Gardez vos rangs.
Now in here, it's almost time to stop the push. We're going to push all the way to Stettin, and then we're going to stop. No need to push further, especially because this is Poland, and this will not give us much victory points for Germany. At this point, actually, rushing Vienna and Munich will end the war. But, I mean, when you see an encirclement like this, how can you not close it and kill all of them?
Gardez vos rangs. Paré. Gardez vos rangs. Attention. Tirs ennemis. Paré.
Bougez-vous.
Gardez vos rangs. Attention. Gardez vos rangs. Gardez vos rangs.
Lovely amount of German divisions in here.
Continuez l'attaque. Continuez l'attaque.
Paré. Gardez vos rangs.
Bougez-vous. Continuez l'attaque.
We probably will have quite a bit of planes to deploy. Nice. Quite a lot of cost to deploy. At this point, I would assign them all to the goal, because the goal will be for the decisive. Will go for the decisive push in Vienna.
Gardez vos rangs.
And there are no more Germans here.
Attention.
So now, no need to push here in the mountains. It's particularly painful and we don't get much from it. So we're going to push towards Vienna.
Gardez vos rangs. Paré. Gardez vos rangs. Attention. Attention. Attention.
Things are looking very good for us, boys.
Paré.
And we can probably even attempt a rush on Vienna and just end the war. I am inclined to do that. I don't think they can stop us at this point.
Paré.
Oh, I think Vienna is going down.
Continuez l'attaque.
Maybe not, they stopped us.
Paré.
But not this time. Okay, we are going to take Vienna, so World War II will be over. This is a very good timing. It's only November 1940, so we were pretty fast at ending World War II. Let's check some of the stats here. I think the casualties are probably fairly high. But yeah, 250k, it's actually good casualties. The range is usually from 200k to 500k casualties in this war. And it depends a little bit. There is also a bit of RNG, of course, involved in this. But, I mean, we did cause them... well, the Germans in particular, 2.5 million. So I will not complain. So guys, this was a very good World War II. Of course, the strategy is exactly the same as the one we used with Democratic France, but keep in mind that our focus choice was completely different. So the fact that we can achieve the same results with this alternative strategy is very, very good. And the reason it's very, very good will be explained in a second. But first, let's get through the peace conference. Also, always make a save before the end of the war, just in case you mess up the peace conference. You don't want to do everything again. Let's see. Okay, we took Vienna and the war is officially over. We got 84% of the war score, pretty good. And we don't have to worry about Italy, taking Italy. Now, in the peace conference, I will not cover the peace conference in the guide itself. It will be in the unedited version, but I will explain briefly what we're going to do. We're going to take the Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg entirely. We're going to take, well, the core territories, the mainland, not the colonies, but we're also going to take Curaçao, just in case we needed to invade the United States later. Then we're going to take all of the German cores, but not the non-core land, like Czechoslovakia, for example, and Denmark. And then we're also going to annex Hungary, Romania, and Bulgaria. And we're also going to take the Italian cores. So these ones are not cores, but Sardinia is a core. So German and Italian cores, together with Luxembourg, Belgium, and the Netherlands, are the priority. Okay, actually, sorry guys if you're watching the unedited version, but let me do it again in a bit better. Okay, so in the peace conference, our priority is to annex all of the Italian and German cores, in addition to Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg, because all of them will be cored in the European Union. After that, I also usually take Curaçao because it's useful to invade the United States. And then I also annex Hungary, Romania, and Bulgaria to release them later on as puppets. What we are going to ignore is everything in Africa, as well as Czechoslovakian territories, Slovakia and the Czech Republic, and usually Denmark as well. Now we can go through the peace conference. Ah, yes, it's worth mentioning that Austria, despite being a German core, will not be considered a European core, but I still annex it usually. Also, keep in mind that this area, this region of Hungary, is not a core of Hungary. It's a core of Czechoslovakia. So you shouldn't take it because you cannot release it as a puppet with Hungary anyway. Well, the UK doesn't have points anyway. Okay, we took everything, as you can see, and we still have quite a lot of points. That's a good thing, though, because we also want to take the German Navy, the Italian Navy, and Legionary Romania, amazing Navy. And then we don't have any puppets, so we don't have any war reparations or resource rights. But as you can see, there is some margin. We took everything that we really had to take. I guess maybe you can go after... you know, you can also go after Albania, possibly. Yeah, but not now, because we don't have enough points. Just keep in mind, when you want to annex and then release as a puppet, which is what we are going to do with Hungary, Romania, and Bulgaria, it's very important that you annex them entirely. Because if you leave even just one, or if you leave even just one region not annexed, then you cannot release them as a puppet. So for example, in this case with Albania, I don't have enough points to take all of Albania. So say we skip a bit of Albania and we annex only these two provinces. Then instead of release as puppet, we will only have the option return territory, which will give this land back to Albania. So that's why if you want to use this strategy, you need to annex entirely. So hopefully I did not forget anything. And if that's the case, we can submit demands and we can confirm. Now, the first thing we want to do after the war is we want to check the autonomy of Italy, which is very low. So very soon we will be able to annex Italy. Another thing we are going to do right away is we're going to occupy territories and we're going to release the Netherlands Antilles. We're going to release Romania, Hungary, and Bulgaria. Now, this is optional. If you prefer to keep them as next territories, you can do so. And it's totally fine to do so, but I prefer to release them as puppets. This means that we can adjust at least some of the trade. Well, we can import from Hungary. From now on, whenever we need... we don't need to import. Whenever you need something, you should always import it from your puppets. For example, oil. We can import oil from Romania now. We're also going to change the production a little bit. I want to increase the production of C2 to 50. We're going to take them away from F2. And we also want to upgrade the MIOs, of course. Now, in terms of focuses, you can find that in the description as well. If you feel like you're going to be able to form the EU soon, you should not pick any additional focuses in here, and you should skip directly to the next one. Now, of course, you need to make sure that you can that you can form the EU before completing the focus. And to form the EU, you only need to annex Italy. Careful though, because this is not an annexation yet. So now we have decreased the autonomy to integrated puppet. We need 999 more points, but that's why we made so many convoys. So we go into land lease, we give them convoys once, all of them, and that should be enough. So I think we can get this focus done right after forming the EU. In case you're not able to form the EU in time, you can also cancel the focus, it's okay. Let me also mention something else, because this is an important part of the run. Now, the reason this strategy is so amazing is that now you're left with 3 alternative options, entirely viable. So you can go for the legitimate heir, and this will allow you later on to core the land in Spain. Or you can go for the Third Empire, which is a more aggressive focus, which is more aggressive, and especially it brings back Napoleon. And I mean, the whole point of this run, of this video, is to bring back Napoleon. So of course we are going to proclaim the Third Empire. But you don't have to. If you prefer one of the other paths, you can also make a save and explore the other ones too. So It's entirely up to you, and from this guide, nothing is decided yet. And as you can see here, you can even go fascist from here. So you can go fascist, you can go non-aligned with 3 alternative options. We are going for Napoleon. Okay, our land lease got to Italy, meaning we can annex Italy, and consequently we can also realize the European unity. We are now the European Union, and we are on our way to becoming non-aligned and bringing back Napoleon. Actually, I said that you should make a save. I didn't make it myself, so I will make a save. And very soon you will see our factories and manpower significantly increase. That's already the case. Only 3 more days. 1 more day, and there we go. Napoleon is back. He may not look as cool as he used to, but he is back. And we are now the French Empire. But we're also the European Union, so we retained all of our cores on all of Germany, all of Italy, the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, everything. So we are incredibly strong. It's only January 1941. We have an entire run ahead of us. And this is what we control already, basically all of Europe. And we are ready to face the Allies. We are ready to avenge Waterloo. So guys, this will be the end for this particular video, but I plan to continue this run. Of course, we created the French Empire, we brought back Napoleon. How could we not go after the UK and avenge Waterloo? So we are going to continue this run. Make sure not to miss the next video. If you enjoyed this guide, I worked a lot on it. I think it's very well optimized. Please do not forget to support the channel by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and also leaving a comment. That's also very important. All of these things help massively with the algorithm. And also guys, I feel like the guide is very well optimized, but if you come up with any other ideas, with any suggestions for further improvements, please make sure to let me know in the comments. Keep in mind that I was able to create this optimized guide thanks to some of these suggestions that I got from you from my old French guide. So I really listen carefully to any suggestion, and I always try to implement them in future guides. France was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to continuing this run. So I will see you guys in the next video. If you stayed with me until now, thank you for watching. Bye bye.